Hey everyone, welcome to this 360 episode of how to operate a mini excavator. So today we're running a Komatsu PC35 mini excavator. First thing, 3 points contact. Again, make sure these doors lock open. I see people try and grab these and the doors move. Come on up here. Again, minis are nice and tight. Squeezing in there. And then releasing the doors, usually a door latch on the inside. Swinging that door around. Perfect. Keys over on the right here. One click, just turn your system on. Make sure you have no warning indicators. We're all good there. And then we're gonna put a seatbelt on. Now, first thing, you guys, this is a 360 episode. So what that means is you can tilt if you're on a mobile device, move that phone around wherever you want. If you have VR goggles, you can actually wear it. But this is our way of giving you a first-person perspective exactly of what we are seeing. We have several of these videos. If you don't know how to watch 360 videos, we have a video on our site that says how to 360. And then I also say if you don't like the 360 version, we have regular versions of how to operate equipment on our website, on the YouTube channel, on our Learn playlist. So with that said, hopefully you guys enjoy this. I'll go over just basic equipment operating skills for a mini excavator. So with the minis, first things first, safety number one, seatbelts on, your safety lock lever. Most minis on a bigger excavator, you actually have a bar you'll pull back and it'll put up in front of the door because minis are so small that it's actually connected to your armrest. So this left joist right here, this red knob, if I push this down, it'll lock in front of the doorway. And now I know everything's live. And then if I had to pull back, that's how we'll deactivate everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and push that forward down there. Pretty simple on the right side over here. I got my throttle right above my key where I started. And then I have my light controls and then air conditioning heat in this one. So kind of warm out here. And then for controls, I tell people if you can operate a 40-ton excavator, you can operate this little one. The controls are very similar to how you'd run any other excavator. I would actually say the minis have more options. They're kind of like a Swiss Army knife. They have a lot of little attachments. So I'm going to go over all those because there's actually more controls in this mini excavator than the full-size version. With the right hand, we're running ISO controls. That's a pretty industry standard. Some people call them CAT controls. So again, all these you can change a valve and move them all, but I'm going to stick with ISO. On my right joystick, if I pull back, this raises my boom up. Right hand forward brings it down. I'll throttle this up all the way up over there. And if I go to the right, opens the bucket. Go to the left, closes the bucket. Again, same as on a big, any size other excavator. So that's our right. Left joystick is my stick and swing. So if I push this forward, push your stick out, pull back, brings that stick back in. And then I've got my swing, left and right, both ways. Those controls are exactly the same as in any other excavator. Now, to the right of this right joystick, the other feature on smaller machines like this, so you'll see in front of me you got a blade. Some people call it a blade, some people call it a stabilizer bar because it can actually kind of serve both purposes. It's pretty simple on this. You just pull back, it goes up, forward goes down. It does not articulate it all turn, it's basically up and down. And how we're going to use that later is a stabilizer. You can put this down to actually spread out that basically how long you are, so you have a more stable base. The other thing is you can use it to backfill a little bit. If you have small piles, it can be used like a bulldozer blade to push it in. Obviously you want to have that up before you start driving, so I've got that up. Now, on my track pedals in the center, the exact same as a big machine. I'll show you driving in a second. But the other one, you got 2 foot pedals. So the Komatsu, and again, all these minis can be a little bit different. Some have triggers on joysticks to operate thumbs. On the left side here, they have most of these have foot pedals to lock them out. That way I can push my feet down, nothing's gonna happen. And then you see how I just moved this one over, and now my left one. This is my thumb control. So if I push up on the top of it, it'll close my hydraulic thumb. If I push on the back, it opens it. Generally you wanna have it stored like that all the way open when you're digging or anything like that. My right side, this is very similar to like a backhoe. So the mini excavators can swing their whole cab, but you can also just swing the arm. So with this, if I go, it goes left and right. You'll see how it swings it to the right without my cab moving. And if I go to the left, it swings it to the left. This is really handy if you're in a really tight area along a house foundation or something like that, where you need to get in line there. It's a lot easier to do it. But generally, we keep these things relatively straight right off the front of your machine. And then I close that. When you're not using it, easiest to close them out, so that way you don't have to worry about hitting them. Sometimes reach down and get those. So with that, now driving's two options. We always teach new operators to start with their hands. Again, each one of these controls one of your tracks. They go forward, back. I'm going to drive it forward a little bit. The other option for when you get more advanced, you'll be using your foot controls. That way hands stay on the joysticks, but for new operators, I don't like to confuse them. All with my feet. Can do all that with my feet. So if I got right there, I usually recommend taking your feet off. That way you don't have to worry about accidentally moving the machine. For digging, it's important putting the stabilizer bar down. I actually put a little bit of downward pressure. So you'll see it'll actually raise my machine just a little bit so I can feel it's down. That made me a little bit longer, a little bit more stable. This is usually the best way to dig with that out in front of you. There are some people, either way in line I should say, I like to put it in front. I've seen other people put it behind them. It really doesn't matter. The concept's the same because it's making your base longer. I like it in front because it helps protect your tracks a little bit too, because if I'm digging too close, there's no way I can hit my tracks at all. That's right in front of me. Now to dig, extend this out. Right hand forward brings it down, and you're stopping a few inches above. We like to make sure those teeth are straight down. You obviously don't want to go in with them closed. You don't want to go in all the way out because you'll hit that joint. So about like this. Push those in, get your teeth in there till you feel it in, and then you just curl that bucket up. All the way. Right hand back, raise it up, left hand will swing it, usually a few feet over. Dump it right there. Bring it back. Now if I want to dig closer, that's where you start using this stick. So I may have to raise my boom up, so right hand back, left hand pull back. Now the key here though, you don't want to just go in like that. What you're trying to do is open that. You always want those teeth either straight down or even out just a little bit. So I put that down in there. Now with any, just like excavators, you want to be careful. If I keep pushing, this has the potential to lift my machine up. Definitely a big one. You'll see it struggles a little bit. The smaller machine doesn't have quite as much power. Curl that in all the way till it stops. Bring it up. Left hand swing over, and I push it out. And then I can dump. Now everything I did there, I kept it very simple, one motion at a time. Now as you get experience, the best way to learn is stick time. So the more you get out there and just operate, you'll see an expert is doing multiple. So I'll be pulling the stick in while curling, and I'm really doing 3 motions there at the same time. And I start pushing it out, trying to reach my pile. Usually you want to be a foot or two above that pile. That's what takes a lot of practice. So as a new operator, you're just trying to get proficient. That's why I usually teach new people, just do 1 motion at a time. That way it's not too confusing. Now, to backfill, you don't want to be creating a new hole, but I usually like to take a scoop. You see how I'm doing multiple, trying to scrape, and you can try and swing a little bit. Everything just like in a big excavator. Sometimes you can backfill using the side of that bucket. The key though is just making sure it's flat to the ground. Now, you'll see if it won't go through, I pull back on it. You want to be gentle on this. Not great because you're actually doing a lateral force on the pins that are holding the bucket in. But if you're just doing a fine grade here, you're not going to really do any damage there. So you'll see that's how you get it. I'd have to move forward a little bit there to get the rest of it. Now the other piece is, again, if I was in a tight configuration here, so let's say I'm trying to get along a house foundation, I can't get this machine all the way in there. This is where, if I go all the way over there, bring that over as far as I can, and now I'm kind of digging off the side there. Still same controls, I can bring my stick in like that. But that's just allowing you to get a little bit different angle where you can kind of get that thing more over the tracks or outside of the tracks right along it. And then you can either use your foot or swing. So there I bring my foot back, lining it up, putting it right back there. Again, lots of different things. For new operators, I really don't focus on I call it the backhoe control to move the arm. If you're not confined for space, I always recommend just doing it right out your front window. It's easiest to see. Now, for picking things up, let's see if we reach this. We use tires out here to practice. So my foot control, well, first thing I want to show you, you'll notice if you look on this is as far as it goes. So that hydraulic, that thumb will only go so far. So you actually have to pull the teeth into it to get it. And you'll see if I pull pressure on it, it'll actually pinch it in there. So if I am down in here, and I can kind of do a combination of closing. So that's pinched in there. As long as I don't do anything with this right joystick opening it, I can go up and down, I can swing. So obviously anytime you're moving anything, you want to have it, remember your center of gravity. I'm off the side here. So if I was way up and further out, that's where I'm not quite as stable. But this is where you can try. Now I'm using both where I want that. And then I'm slowly opening that. Spinning around, let's see if I can stack one more. So again, using that foot pedal, got it in there. So I'm bringing it in close to me again. The closer you can be to you, your center of gravity are a lot more stable. It's really where it's just practice. The more you get proficient in this, you stack things. That's where you use the bottom of the bucket. You can push things out just like that. You can store that thing. And there we go. Now, driving position, I usually like to be, a foot or two off the ground. And then we got that blade right here, so I'm going to pull that back. And this is where, I'm not going to go through that whole pile, but if I were, so I can put my feet back on there, if I drop this blade a little bit, you can kind of cut in, so I'm kind of pushing into that thing. And you can see how I can get a little bit, so you can do a backfill on that. If I really wanted to go on the other side there and I could actually push that back in, it's one way to kind of backfill using that blade as well. Now, I'm going to spin this thing back around. Take it in reverse. There we go, spin it back. So to park these with any excavator, I put the blade back down on the ground. And then I generally recommend setting the bucket flat on the ground as well. Teeth flat, perfect. After that, I'm turning my throttle down right there. And then safety lock lever. Once that's up, again, nothing works there. I'm gonna let it idle just for a few seconds. I always like to let it idle, about 15 to 30 seconds for a Komatsu at least. Shut that off. Then, again, swing that door all the way open. Kind of awkward around there, but I've seen too many people try and get out and they end up grabbing the door handle. So come around backwards, 3 points of contact at all times. Right there, step, release is right on the inside there. There we go. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this 360 episode of how to operate a mini excavator. Again, tune into our YouTube channel to see all the other how-to videos. So thanks a lot for watching.